Good evening. And after that glimpse of some of the movies in contention, welcome to this roundup of the best films of the third millennium. Well, okay, so it's been a short millennium so far. What can you do? But at least it began well with American Beauty, a witty, excoriating look at American suburbia, notable for great performances by Kevin Spacey and Annette Bening, and the precociously assured direction of British debutante Sam Mendes. This, I thought, is going to be a good year, and American Beauty immediately found a place among my top 10.
Hi, I'm Lester, Janie's dad.
Oh, hi. This is my friend, Angela Hayes.
Okay. Good to meet you. You were also good tonight. Very precise.
Thanks.
Yeah, nice to meet you, Angela. Honey. Oh, I am so proud of you. You know, I watched you very closely. You didn't screw up once. Okay. We have to go.
So what are you girls doing now?
Dad, we're going out for pizza.
Oh, really? Do you need a ride? We can give you a ride. I have a car. You want to come with us?
Thanks, but I have a car.
Well, you have a car. Oh, well, that's great. That's great. Because Janie's thinking about getting a car, too, soon, aren't you, honey?
Dad, Mom's waiting for you.
Well, it was very nice meeting you, Angela. Any friend of Janie's is a friend of mine.
What a good actor he is. Now, a point to bear in mind, my choices are strictly in chronological order. You want an order of merit, you sort it out. Anyway, there was more encouragement in Neil Jordan's thoughtful adaptation of the Graham Greene novel The End of the Affair, with Ralph Fiennes and Julianne Moore. When, like whatever doomed masochist happens to be coaching the England football team, I drew up my squad, The End of the Affair was certainly in it, but it didn't quite make the final team. And my second choice is Toy Story 2, which was packed with imagination and pleasure, and like its predecessor, set new technical standards for animation.
I can't find it! It doesn't seem to be on any of these stations!
Keep looking.
Oh, you're going too slow. Let me take the wheel.
It's too fast! How could you even tell what's on?
I can tell.
Go back.
Too late. I'm in the 40s. Gotta go around the horn. It's faster.
Wait, Highway 21, and look for the giant chicken!
Now, Etch. That's where I need to go.
You can't go, Buzz. You'll never make it there.
Woody once risked his life to save me. I couldn't call myself his friend if I weren't willing to do the same. So who's with me?
I'm packing you an extra pair of shoes and your angry eyes, just in case.
This is for Woody, when you find him.
All right, but I don't think it'll mean the same coming from me.
Now, contrary to popular belief, I don't spend my entire life in cinemas or sitting in this chair holding a one-sided conversation with a camera. Sometimes I even talk to other people, as the following compilation indicates. You're, 64 now, and as you once memorably said, a third of the way through your life. What lies ahead?
I guess I'll keep making films until either the money or my health give out.
I know I get bored when I see actors do the same thing, film after film after film after film.
Yeah, but this is your mistake, you see. This is what you're doing wrong, because you tend to play the character, not yourself.
I know, it's a
You'll
shame.
never be a great big movie star like that.
I know, and it's something I'm going to have to live with.
I know, because you always wanted to be Arnold Schwarzenegger, I know that.
Well, I got his muscle truck for this movie. I'm getting close.
I do get the impression with Kevin, because he's so good, that sometimes he thinks, oh, I'm just so much better than everybody else around here. I can kind of phone it in. I mean, I would never say that to him, but he's probably going to watch this now.
I'll tell him you said it.
Yeah, exactly.
Black Private Dick, who's a sex machine for all the chicks. Where's the sex? Well, we're working on that. We're like writing a new scene, we're going to put it in there, we're going to shoot it at the end of the shoot. And it's like, okay, and then we never got around to it.
You seem to be in quite a lot of films where nudity is demanded. Shortcuts is the spectacular one that everybody remembers, but...
There are actually very few. I mean, it's interesting that people choose to talk about them, because I've made, say, like 24 films, and I think there's been some nudity, or a little bit of it, in maybe 4 of them. But it seems to, people talk about that kind of stuff. It seems to be something that the press likes to talk about.
There's a great film to be made about people doing lovemaking scenes, because it's really quite absurd. When if you're a fly on the wall, and there's all these cameras and people standing around like this, and someone says action, and it feels very, and you have to zone into this intense desire with someone, and someone says cut, and it's like continual coitus interruptus.
It's the time when you're sitting around in the seat waiting for the next take, you know, waiting for them to set up, that's the difficult part. I was smoking a lot at that time, and I had I was extremely flammable as well, so I had this big, long cigarette holder. It was quite comical watching me with this large cigarette holder and these big, long fingers and stuff.
When I first went to Hollywood, I got pregnant and used to sit at home in stretch pants and say, I can't live here. Everyone says stupid things like, you're welcome and you're so special. I said to my husband, what am I going to do? And then he took me to see Broadway Danny Rose. I'd never really gotten Woody Allen before then. If I'd seen films in England, when I saw Manhattan and stuff, I just thought it was about neurotic, self-obsessed Jewish New Yorkers. You feel like just slapping them and going, oh, get on with it, you know.
Well, I hope the films go on, and I look forward to the next 2/3 of your life, and I hope I'm around to enjoy them too.
Thank you. I hope we all are. It would be very interesting scientifically.
You know, as with buses, when you're queuing in the rain, so with good movies. You wait ages for one to come along, and then suddenly a herd of them turns up nose to tail. Thus it was with my next three choices. First, there was Anthony Minghella's The Talented Mr. Ripley, adapted from Patricia Highsmith's psychological murder story. Matt Damon and Gwyneth Paltrow starred, but the best performances were by Philip Seymour Hoffman and Jude Law, who should have won the Oscar for Best Supporting Actor.
This is Marge Sherwood. Sorry, what is it?
Ripley.
How do you do?
How do you do, March?
What are you doing in Manji?
Nothing. Nothing much. Just passing through.
Passing through?
Yeah.
You're so white. Did you ever see a guy so white, Marge? Gray, actually.
It's just an undercoat.
Say again?
You know, a primer.
That's funny. Margie likes that because she's so white.
Yes, I do, and you're not funny. Well, you should come and have lunch with us before you go. Yes, Dickie?
Sure, anytime.
Well, coincidence.
I don't remember him.
Another Oscar nominee, Russell Crowe, who was to make an even bigger impact later in the year, featured alongside Al Pacino in my fourth choice, Michael Mann's The Insider, based on the true story of the man who blew the whistle on America's corrupt and hypocritical tobacco industry.
Mr. Motley, we have rights here. Oh, you got rights. And lefts. Ups and downs and middles. So what? You don't get to instruct anything around here. This is not North Carolina, not South Carolina, nor Kentucky. This is the sovereign state of Mississippi's proceeding. Wipe that smirk off your face! Dr. Wigan's deposition will be part of this record. And I'm going to take my witness's testimony whether the hell you like it or not. Answer the question, Doctor.
Yes, it produces a physiological response, which meets the definition of a drug. Nicotine is associated with impact, satisfaction. It has a pharmacological effect that crosses the blood-brain barrier intact.
Hard on the heels of the previous two came Magnolia, the sprawling, richly convoluted story of a most dysfunctional family. Paul Thomas Anderson directed, and a powerful cast included Jason Robards Jr., Julianne Moore again, Philip Seymour Hoffman again, and Tom Cruise, here proving, as I've been saying for years, that he's a much better actor than people give him credit for. The film didn't always work, but it worked often enough, and at least it had ambition.
I know this sounds silly, and I know that I might sound ridiculous, like this is the scene of the movie where the guy's trying to get a hold of the long-lost son, you know, but this is that scene. This is that scene, and I think they have those scenes in movies because they're true, you know, because they really happen, and you gotta believe me, this is really happening. I mean, I can give you my number and you can go check with whoever you gotta check with and call me back, but do not leave me hanging on this. All right, please. Please. See, See, this is the scene of the movie where you help me out.
And so to my next choice, being John Malkovich, which I think was the most imaginative movie of the year. In this, the splendid John Cusack crawls through a tiny door in his office and finds himself in the mind of John Malkovich with unusual, unexpected and often hilarious results. Malkovich was a shrewd choice. He's not my favourite actor, but at least he's intelligent. I mean, imagine what being Sylvester Stallone might have been like.
How was it? It was amazing this time. That was no simulation! I know, I'm sorry. It's such an honor. I have been to the dark side. I have seen a world that no man should see.
Really, for most people, it was a rather pleasant experience. I mean,
that portal is mine, and it must be sealed forever for the love of God.
But, Mr. Malcolm, sir, with all due respect, I discovered that portal. I mean, it's my livelihood, do you understand?
It's my head, Schwartz. It's my head! I will see you in court.
What makes you think I won't be seeing what you're seeing in court? I'm Malkovich, think fast!
So, OK, that's 6. Enough of choices already, at least for the moment. What about the Oscars? Well, as usual, they came along accompanied by hysterical hype. And as usual, right from the nomination stage, the voters made some good decisions and some wildly bad ones. From Britain, Sam Mendes won, and so, for the Cider-House Rules, did the recently knighted Sir Maurice Micklewhite, which meant that Jude Law didn't. A close call, no doubt. However, here's how the annual movie lottery panned out.
Hello, London.
I watched the Oscars when I was 9 years old, and I never knew that I would be here one day. How are you feeling here tonight?
Pretty good.
Quite calm, really.
Yeah, very calm. Feels like everything else is going so frenzied. I think we got to keep calm.
There he is. That is Oscar.
Could you show us the Oscars, sir?
Yes, of course.
What are your plans for the rest of the evening?
Fair amount of alcohol, and I'm going to make it last as long as possible.
Could you have ever hoped that tonight would have turned out like this?
Oh, it's beyond my wildest dreams, as a matter of fact. And I won the Oscar before, and I wasn't here. And so to be here this time, it was extraordinary.
You want a tip for next year's Oscars? Julia Roberts for Erin Brockovich. Right now, I can't see anyone beating her. So, back to the roundup. Also in my squad, though not the selected team, was the delightful Star Trek spoof Galaxy Quest, featuring Sigourney Weaver and Alan Rickman, mention of which seems a good cue for a look at some of the better comedy moments of the year.
That's my future son-in-law.
That was your first fart. Come here, baby.
I'm looking for a record for my daughter. I just called to say I love you. You go to the mall. What's your problem?
Do you even know your daughter? There's no way she likes that song. Oh, is she in a coma?
What did you say if I told you that you were married to a very brilliant man?
I'd say I'd have to be a bigamist.
Back it up, back it up.
Punch me in the face.
What?
You gotta rock me. Don't give me one of those girly, I want to break a fingernail love taps, you know?
I can't believe that Bryce prefers Van Patten's card to mine.
I had no idea you could milk a cat.
Oh yeah, you can milk anything with nipples.
I have nipples, Greg. Could you milk me?
How many men have you slept with?
Not that many. 13.
I'm sorry, I just can't. You're like a whore. Just want you to look at some photos. Tell me what you think.
No.
No? All right. Well, worth a shot.
That is a big trunk. It holds a tuba, a suitcase, a dead dog, and a garment bag almost perfectly.
Yeah, that's just what they used to say in the ads.
Sorry. Taught him that in 1 week.
I've never had sex before.
You should hold out. Wait till you're in love.
Buenos días, señor. ¿Cómo dices? No habla español. Un momento. Estoy hablando español. Hola, mucho gusto. No, gracias. Soy alérgico a los crustáceos.
What the hell is that? Did you kill a cheetah?
Don't know about you, but speaking for myself, I could murder a pork chop.
And at this point, with 4 more choices to be made, we come to the break. In the second half, I'll complete my list, and I'll also be looking back over the movie year with Ridley Scott, Ewan McGregor and Dougray Scott. You'd hate yourself if you missed that.
'Twas the night before Christmas, when all through the house not a creature was stirring, not even a mouse. The stockings were hung by the chimney with care, in hopes that St. Nicholas soon would be there. Spend Christmas Eve with Sky Movies.
Something smells good this Christmas. Flash Christmas cracker.
21. Montgomery. Russell. 17. Clean. 7.
Hello, love. You all right?
I've just seen the 4 horsemen of the apocalypse.
Don't worry about it, love. It's not the end of the world.
He who drinks Australian thinks Australian.
For pay-as-you-go mobiles this Christmas, Dixons has the top phones from all 4 networks, from under £30. They're under Dixons now.
Welcome back. Part 2 gets off to a galloping start with a real cracker of a movie, Ridley Scott's Gladiator. It's the story of a Roman general superbly played by the aforementioned Russell Crowe, who, betrayed by the Emperor Commodus, Joaquin Phoenix, becomes a gladiator and seeks vengeance. It may or may not be the best film of the year, but it was the one I enjoyed most, and it totally revived and reinvented the historical epic. Great stuff, that. Well, with me now in the studio are Ridley Scott, Ewan McGregor, whom I first saw in Shallow Grave and quite ignored, which just goes to show what a great star spotter I am, and Dougray Scott, last seen as Tom Cruise's co-star in Mission Impossible 2. And it's very nice to have you all here. You 3 guys have had an interesting year, all of you, have you not? I mean, Ewan, we haven't actually seen you on the screen, but you've got 2 blockbusters coming up.
Well, I would think so. I spent about 8 or 9 months working in Australia with Baz Luhrmann on a musical called Moulin Rouge. So I think that's going to be really exciting when it comes out. It's taken him about 3 years, and he's still working on it. Baz, he's an incredible perfectionist. The scale of it was huge. The sets, and we had 300 dancers and enormous big sets, and it was just like the old days. It was fantastic. I'd come on set occasionally and go, "Wow, it's kind of what I used to dream about,"
And you sing in this one. You really fancy your singing, don't you?
I like it. Well, I do
Velvet
enjoy it,
Goldmine
yeah.
and things like that. Yeah. Is this just in case the day job breaks
That's
up?
right.
packs
Well,
up
you
or
know,
something?
the Christmas album and all
He's
that.
got a he's got a voice like an angel, and I can vouch for that.
Yeah.
Because he used to come home and play me the CDs every
We were both
day.
out there. We were two Scottish vagabonds in Australia for some time.
Terrible, yeah. I was doing a film that I did last year that took about 5 years to make, Mission Impossible 2.
Yeah.
So we were both there at the same time.
What kind of an experience was that?
It was long. That's one thing to say about it, but it was extraordinary. You know, working with John Woo, I think, is probably one of the best action directors in the world. And the Tomster, as we used to call him, is a lovely man. Very, very. He's got the most amount of energy I think I've ever seen of anyone on a film set, and his enthusiasm never lets up right from day one to when you finish it.
I want to talk to Ridley about Gladiator. You've had one hell of a year, haven't you? I mean, that film has taken how much money at the box office in America?
I don't know. Well, we're totaling around about 450 now.
You,
I mean,
you can't have expected that, can you?
Yeah, you get a funny feeling fairly early on. I got a funny feeling early on that we probably had something good. You know, you do. You get a sense. Everybody senses it. So yeah, we knew fairly soon that I think this would probably be quite interesting.
What about Russell Crowe? I mean, he's a very good actor, I think. You know, L.A. Confidential and The Insider. But I mean, this film has turned him into a much bigger star, hasn't it?
I think he was already well on the way.
Was he?
Yeah, I mean, Russell's like a 35 movie, 40 theatre production overnight success.
Yeah.
I mean, Russell's really experienced and has been at it since he was a child. And so by the time he came to the United States, he'd done a lot of that stuff in Australia.
Yeah.
And we started to notice him in Romper Stomper.
Yeah.
And that's my job. I watch all this weird, like I've just cast this guy called Eric Bana for Black Hawk Down, who's Australian, for this film. He comes out of a film called Chopper, which you may not have seen yet.
Yes, indeed, I have seen. Yes,
right.
He was very good.
Yeah.
He's a comedian, isn't he?
Yeah,
Basically.
yeah. So I watch out for these guys.
We could probably put a list together of our pieces and our films.
Well, I was just going to say, Ridley, if you're watching out for actors, a couple here you might keep an eye on. You know,
I've tried, but
I'm doing my best for you two guys.
He doesn't even reply.
Really?
No,
well,
I
he's
clearly
very
don't ever get
grand
there.
now, you know.
He's filtered through.
Yeah, he's very grand. Tell me, tell me about the new Star Wars. I hope you're going to have a bigger part in this one than you had in the previous one.
Yeah, in the new one, I have kind of a story of my own, and I kind of branch off a bit.
Yeah.
I'm mainly wet and on my own. That's kind of well, I had 4 months of on my own and soaking wet usually.
Why
Can't
so
tell
wet?
can't give anything away.
Sorry.
Why is he wet? It's a much better script, I think, than the first one.
Yeah. Good.
Well, not that I would say that wouldn't be hard. I mean, it wouldn't say that. I
No,
wouldn't seem to be say that.
well, I'm glad you said that, but I do agree with you. Yeah,
it was.
the
It
first
was
one
very
not good.
disappointing. The first one, I think, and this one's a better script.
We're not going to see that in a hurry, are we? That
I wouldn't imagine so. I would think it would be. I don't even know.
Yeah.
It might be 2002. I don't know.
Memorial Day 202.
Is that right?
Yeah.
Probably.
Really?
Yeah, well, you got so many effects. You've probably got. I mean,
all of it.
All of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And Dougray, Enigma.
Yeah.
Which is a fascinating story. I mean, it's based on
the Robert
the novel,
Harris.
isn't it?
Yeah, the Robert Harris novel. Yeah. I'm not sure. I think that comes out this year. Whether it's in the spring or whether they're going to wait. And I think in America they're quite keen maybe to wait until the autumn, because then you know they have a lot more attention on it. But you know, it's a wonderful script. Tom Stoppard wrote the script, adapted it from the novel by Robert Harris, and Michael Apted directed it, who I think is one of the very, very classy British director. You know, I think it's very, very good. But I would say that.
Well, yes. What else are you going to say at this stage? And you, Ridley, I mean, you went off after Gladiator and made Hannibal. Why?
Yeah, Dino De Laurentiis arrived in the studio one day when I was 3 weeks from the end of Gladiator, and said, the manuscript was almost as big as he was, because he's a very small man.
Yes, he
but
is,
he makes up for it in other ways. But he said, I want you to do Hannibal. And I said, I'm doing Romans now, Dino. You know, I don't want to do elephants coming over the Alps. And I hadn't been aware of the book. And
you have been aware of the other films, said you?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. And I read it, I thought, because I was busy 3 weeks before the end of a film like Gladiator, it was murderous. And when I got through it in 3 days, and I said, you know, what about Jonathan? Isn't he going to do this? He said, no. I said, I'll do it. And that was it. So interesting because it then attracted, probably if you're going to name one of the four best writers in the business, you'd have to include Steve Zalian.
Yeah.
Got him on board, immediately said, this is fun. I said, absolutely. And our business is about having fun. Yeah. We do have fun, actually, or ideally we should have fun when we make movies.
No point in doing it otherwise, is there?
Absolutely not, because it really is hard work.
Yeah.
It's really hard work. People have no idea physically how tough it is.
Let's talk about Oscars, because what do you think, well, starting with you, Ridley, I mean, what do you think of the chance of Gladiator at the Oscars?
I'm British, so we don't talk about that, okay, one. But two, that takes a major team to pull off what was put on the screen in Gladiator.
Oh, sure.
So I think if everybody who's involved aren't nommied is really sadistic.
No, what about you two? Have you got any hot favourites for the Oscars? Because it's not that far away now, you know.
I'm still naive enough to wonder at what the importance of the Oscars and why they seem to be the be-all and end-all in movies. I still don't understand. Because unlike yourself, I don't think they represent... Very good for your fee. I don't think they represent... well, perhaps, but they don't represent all of cinema in any manner of means. And, you know, I think they represent our section of it. And yet everything's aimed at them when you finish making a film, when the release of a film, everything's pegged on an award ceremony, and I've always wondered why it's not a competition. I've never thought male filmmaking's a competition.
Would you like one?
Would I like one? Yeah. Nah, give it back.
How about you, Dougray?
Would I like an Oscar? Well, I'm British, so I can't really talk about that.
No, of course, if you were offered one, you know, you'd change your tune almost immediately. But it is extraordinary, the importance of them.
I mean, I never remember who wins it. I mean, if you asked me who won the Oscars last year, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head. I really couldn't tell you who won last.
He'd remember.
Barry could.
He'd probably remember.
I was there. Were you there? Agonised to know.
Do you know what I mean? It's almost like as soon as the ceremony's over, then people forget about it immediately. Not saying that Oscars don't matter, because they do for Hollywood.
But the agents of the winners don't forget about it.
Especially when they're negotiating your next fee. Yeah, as you said, that means a lot of difference.
That does help. Yeah.
But I do think there is too much importance in the sense that it doesn't mean to say that a film is no less as good as another film because it didn't win the Oscar.
Okay, well let's get down to the nitty-gritty. Each of you, which were your three favourite films of the year?
My three favourites of the year are Magnolia, American Beauty and The Insider.
Not bad choices, Ridley.
Thank you.
Well, we're similar.
Yeah.
Insider, American Beauty, Mr. Ripley.
Yes, yes. And Ewan?
Boys Don't Cry, Oh Brother, Where Art Thou, and American Beauty.
Well, American Beauty is obviously a universal
across
favourite.
the board, yeah.
Got the right price.
Yeah, indeed it did. Well, thank you all very much indeed for being here, and hey, good luck in 2001.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And after that, back to my choices. Number 8, chronologically remember, in my list is Oh Brother, Where Art Thou?, the Coen brothers' artful take on Homer's Odyssey, transplanted to the 1930s Deep South and starring George Clooney as the vain, half-smart leader of a trio of escapees from a chain gang.
Say, any of you boys, Smithies? Or, if not Smithies per se, were you otherwise trained in the metallurgic arts before straitened circumstances forced you into life aimless wandering?
Jesus! Can I count on you people?
Sorry, Everett.
Well, all right. We take off through that bayou.
Wait a minute. Who elected you leader of this outfit?
Well, Pete, I figured it should be the one with the capacity for abstract thought. But if that ain't the consensus view, then hell, let's put her to a vote.
The second big movie event of the year is the Cannes Film Festival. This is rapidly becoming a chaotic bun fight to which anyone who got a camcorder for Christmas now turns up purporting to be a TV documentary maker. As Ernest Thesiger said about the First World War, the noise, my dear, and the people. However, here's a glimpse of some of the saner moments this time around.
thrilled to work with him no matter what.
Did you have any trouble talking him into it?
No.
I love acting and this kind of life and traveling, and I don't know where I live, and I'm always in hotels, and I like that. It's also very crazy.
A nice venue, nice venue is to be.
What's the reason for coming down here?
I was told to show up.
It's got the real drama that you hope that a show business experience could have.
But now a quick mention of some of the other films which in my list made the squad but not the final cut. There was Billy Elliot, The Tale of a Miner's Son Who Becomes a Ballet Dancer, which was hailed by some as the best British film of the year. Well, it was very good and hugely successful, but my own favourite British picture was Mike Leigh's Topsy-Turvy, the story of Gilbert and Sullivan writing The Mikado. I liked Denzel Washington in Hurricane too, the Oscar-winning Hilary Swank in Boys Don't Cry, Anthony Hopkins in Titus, Kenneth Branagh's musical Love's Labour's Lost, Alan Parker's Angela's Ashes, Woody Allen's Sweet and Lowdown and Small Time Crooks, the thriller What Lies Beneath with Michelle Pfeiffer and Harrison Ford, John Cusack again in Stephen Frears' High Fidelity, Aardman Animation's Chicken Run, and Renée Zellweger in Nurse Betty. Oh, there was quite a lot that I liked and much that I hated, which brings us neatly to the turkeys of the year, and in ascending order of lack of merit they are. At 10, Charlie's Angels. OK, I may be alone in this, but I thought it was crap. 9, Bicentennial Man. Lachrymose Robin Williams starred, need I say more? 8, Joan of Arc, wherein the Maid of Orleans seemed to be inspired solely by a ferocious bout of PMT. 7, Circus, the kind of film that gives British thrillers a bad name. And 6, Sorted, which gives them an even worse name. With at 5, Honest, which continues the good work of Circus and Sorted. 4 is Battlefield Earth, and John Travolta should be shot for lending his name to this rubbish. 3, The Flintstones in Viva Rock Vegas, which, as if they needed such help, gives sequels a bad name. And 2, Blair Witch 2, which could possibly be the worst sequel ever made. But at number 1, Rancid Aluminium. However rancid the aluminium was, it's not nearly as rancid as the film. The handful of people unfortunate enough to have seen Janice Beard 45 words per minute may wonder why I've overlooked it. Well, in fact, it would have been top, but the producers wouldn't let us have a clip. It shows how much they loved it. And so finally to my last 2 selections. The 9th in my list is Curtis Hanson's Splendid Wonder Boys, a sharp rites of passage comedy in which the one who grows up, with the aid of student Tobey Maguire, is 50-ish college professor Michael Douglas, another potential Oscar nominee for next year.
Like it or not, those people out there are your parents.
They're not my parents.
What?
They're my grandparents. My parents are dead.
James, the man is obviously your father. You look just like him.
There's a reason for that.
Oh, get out of here.
No, that's why she hates me. That's why she makes me sleep in the basement.
Crawl space with the rats in the cask of Amontillado.
No, it's
right?
true. They treat me like a freak.
Well, you are a freak, James. All right, welcome to the club.
You don't understand. You don't know what it's like.
You're right, I don't. Don't expect me to feel sorry for you, all right? Because I don't know who you are. Let me ask you something, James. In the past 36 hours, have you told me one thing that's true? One thing that comes from you?
I just wanted to stay with you for a little while. That's all.
And so to number 10, one more comedy. Meet the Parents, in which nervous Ben Stiller meets the parents of his fiancée, notably a splendidly menacing and comic Robert De Niro, who might also find an Oscar nomination coming his way.
Now I'm going to ask you some questions, and all you have to do is answer yes or no.
Okay.
All right. Let's give it a whirl. Did you fly on an airplane today?
Yes, I did.
No peeking. Did we eat pot roast for dinner tonight?
Yes.
Was it undercooked?
No, it was rare. It was a little rare for my taste. But I
I'm
would.
just kidding. I'm just. Relax, relax. The needles are jumping. Have you ever watched pornographic videos?
No. I mean, well, I don't.
Yes or no?
So that's the 10. Was it, as I'd hoped originally, a good year? Well, yes and no. As ever, the thought-provoking stuff came mostly from the independent sector. The Dross, Mission Impossible 2, Nutty Professor 2, The Flintstones, Road Trip, Charlie's Angels and the like came mostly from the major studios. And there'll be no improvement until the British industry imposes harsher criteria on its own productions and Hollywood remembers how to make big pictures for intelligent people. I leave you with that thought as we move on to the competition. The answer to last week's question is that Roger Moore was presenting the Best Actor prize to Marlon Brando, but Brando didn't turn up and Moore walked off with the Oscar and has had it ever since. And there is the winner of the copies of Moonraker and For Your Eyes Only, plus a Philips machine to play them on. This week, courtesy of Universal Pictures Video, we offer a complete home cinema system, including a widescreen TV, a DVD machine, a VHS video recorder plus a sound system, and for good measure, a copy of Gladiator to the person who can name all the films in our closing montage. Send your entry to filmnight@bskyb.com or on a postcard to Film Night Competition, B-Sky-B, Grant Way, Isleworth, Middlesex, TW7 5QD. And that's it for Film Night 2000. I'll be back at the same time and in the same place on January the 11th. Meanwhile, do look carefully at our closing montage. It could win you one hell of a prize. But for now, from me and the whole Film Night team, have a wonderful Christmas and a happy and healthy New Year. Goodbye.
Check the gate, moving on. I rule.